Welcome. Tonight's story is about a girl who found a quiet list tucked inside her mother's favorite book. A list of dreams, simple joys, and small wishes her mother never had time to finish. This is a story about grief that doesn't shout, but lingers softly in corners, in recipes left half-made, and in songs only one person remembers. It's about the things we leave behind. Not money, not objects, but pieces of ourselves, unfinished, handwritten, waiting to be picked up. The kind of list that doesn't belong in a drawer, but in a heart. So if you've ever missed someone quietly, if you've ever traced the outline of a voice you can no longer hear, or found yourself standing in a place they once loved just to feel a little closer, this story is for you. Let's begin. After the funeral, the house felt like it was holding its breath. Nothing moved, nothing echoed, and yet everything spoke. Her scent still lived in the closet. The soft click of her favorite kettle echoed when no one was in the kitchen. And every drawer creaked as if it were grieving too. Emma returned home to help sort things out. Her mother's home was simple, full of tiny moments woven into fabric and shelves and books left with pages dog-eared. She didn't want to go through the cookbooks, but they were stacked beside the fridge, and someone had to pack them. One by one, she opened them. Each cover smelled faintly of cinnamon and rosemary. Tucked inside the pages of the oldest one, stained, frayed, and full of tiny scribbles, was a folded piece of paper. Not a recipe. A list. In her mother's unmistakable handwriting, see the ocean at sunrise, learn to ride a bicycle again, make cherry pie from scratch, visit Florence, even just once, forgive myself for the past, dance barefoot in the rain, hear Emma sing. Emma froze. She read the list 3 times. Her eyes caught on the last line. She had never sung for her mother. Not once. She sat down on the cold tile floor and held the list to her chest. It wasn't just a list. It was a map, a whisper, a letter from the other side of goodbye. And Emma decided she wouldn't let it stay unfinished. Emma had never been a morning person. But 2 days after finding the list, she found herself standing alone on the edge of a rocky shoreline, wrapped in her mother's scarf, waiting for the sun. It was cold. The wind pushed through her sweater like breath from the sea itself. She kept looking at the folded paper in her hand. Her mother's words. See the ocean at sunrise. It felt like a dare, or a promise. The sky began to peel open slowly. Purple first, then grey, and finally, a soft gold spilled across the horizon like it had missed her mother too. The waves whispered quietly to the rocks. And in that moment, Emma didn't feel alone. She imagined her mother beside her, elbows tucked in tight, hair pulled back, humming a tune under her breath. She imagined them sharing this view, pointing out clouds shaped like animals, laughing about nothing. When the sun finally slipped above the waterline, Emma felt tears on her cheeks before she noticed she was crying. It wasn't sadness. It was something quieter, a kind of relief, like her mother had borrowed the sunrise to say, "Thank you." Emma took out her phone and snapped a photo. Not to post, just to keep. She opened her notes app and typed the word, "Done," next to the first line on the list. And for the first time in weeks, she smiled. Emma found the old bicycle in the shed, buried beneath boxes of Christmas lights and cracked flower pots. It had belonged to her mother when she was young, the frame still a faded mint green, the seat torn slightly at the corner, the basket on the front sagging but intact. A small tag tied to the handlebar read, "Don't throw away," in the same looping handwriting as the list. She rolled it into the sunlight, brushing away dust and cobwebs with her sleeve. The tires were flat, and the chain groaned when she turned the pedals, but it still looked alive somehow, like it had one last ride left in it.
Emma wasn't much of a cyclist. She hadn't ridden a bike since middle school, and even then, she'd never been good at it. But that wasn't the point. Her mother had wanted to feel that freedom again. Wind in her hair, wheels humming under her, the road stretching with no destination. She got the tires filled at a gas station. The attendant gave her a strange look, probably wondering why a grown woman looked terrified to be holding a bike. But she ignored it. She rode slowly at first, wobbling through the empty parking lot behind the old movie theatre. It wasn't graceful. She fell twice. Her knees stung and her palms were raw. But on the third try, something clicked. Her balance returned. The bike moved beneath her like it remembered who it was.
And there she was, laughing. Not politely, not softly, really laughing. The kind of laugh that you don't expect and can't stop. The kind her mother used to call a joy leak. She rode in wide circles, her hair in the wind, the basket rattling, and the sunlight bouncing off the chrome handlebars. And for a moment, she felt like she was borrowing her mother's joy, like it had been waiting there in that bicycle all along. Later that night, she marked off the second item on the list. She whispered, "Done," into the quiet room, and for the first time, it didn't feel empty. The recipe was tucked in a drawer with faded holiday napkins and measuring spoons that no longer matched. A small index card, yellowed at the edges, held her mother's careful script. Mom's real cherry pie, no shortcuts. The word real was underlined 3 times. Emma hadn't baked anything in years. But there was something sacred about seeing her mother's handwriting again, not just as a list or a note, but as instructions, as if she was still teaching her something. The kitchen was quiet as she laid out the ingredients. Fresh cherries, sugar, flour, lemon zest. She rolled up her sleeves and tried to remember the rhythm of her mother's hands, how she kneaded, how she hummed, how she gently swiped flour off her daughter's nose mid-sentence. Emma made a mess. The dough cracked, the filling bubbled over, and the oven smoked just a little. But the smell was perfect. The kind of warmth that made the house feel lived in again. She sat at the kitchen table with a slice and a cup of tea, the same way her mother used to. She even placed the pie on the old ceramic dish, the one with the little painted roses along the rim. She hadn't touched it since the funeral. As she ate, Emma smiled. It didn't taste like a perfect pie. It tasted like memory, like Sunday mornings and soft music, and the way her mother always said, "It's okay if it's not pretty. It's pie, not a painting." When she folded the recipe card and placed it gently back into the drawer, her fingers lingered on the edge. She whispered, "Done," into the quiet once again. 3 down, 4 to go. Emma had never been to Italy. She barely remembered her mother talking about it, except in passing, like something beautiful people dream about but never chase. But there it was, scribbled in her mother's list between cherry pie and forgiveness. Visit Florence, even just once. She looked up flights out of curiosity. Too expensive. Too fast. It didn't feel right anyway, to rush a trip that had lived in her mother's heart like a poem. Instead, she found herself at a tiny art gallery downtown. A traveling exhibit, postcards from Italy. The first photo she saw was of Florence, the city waking up in amber light, rooftops stretching toward a sleepy sky, the Duomo standing like a heartbeat in stone. She stood in front of that photograph longer than she expected. Something about it made her chest ache. The soft lines of the buildings, the way the clouds held color like breath, the quiet. She could see her mother there, not doing anything grand, just standing at a window, looking out, holding a mug, at peace. She bought the photo print, framed it, hung it above her bed, and every morning after that, she looked at it and whispered, "We made it, Mom." It wasn't Florence in person, but it was Florence in feeling, in spirit, in the way her mother had probably imagined it all along. Quiet, distant, golden. She marked that one off the list too. Not with guilt, but with something like gratitude. Because the dream didn't die. It simply changed shape. There was only one item left on the list. It sat at the bottom, simple and quiet. Hear Emma sing. Emma had always been shy about her voice. She used to sing when no one was home, humming softly into pillows or over the sound of running water. Her mother would knock gently on the bathroom door sometimes and say, "I hear you, songbird." And Emma would laugh it off, pretend it was nothing. She never sang for real. Not when it counted. Now she sat on the floor of the living room, the house quiet but full. She lit one candle, placed the list beside her, and opened her notebook. The melody came slowly, notes stitched from memory and longing. It wasn't polished, but it was real. She sang softly at first, then louder, each word carrying the weight of apology and love. It wasn't just a song. It was everything she had meant to say, everything she wished she could still say. "I'm sorry I waited. I'm sorry I hid. I hope you knew anyway." When the final note faded, the room didn't feel empty anymore. It felt like breath, like warmth, like something had landed softly and stayed. Emma folded the list one last time and placed it in her mother's favorite book, where it had waited for her. Then she whispered, "All done, Mom." Outside, the wind moved gently through the trees. And somewhere, just maybe, her mother was still listening.
I found your list inside the drawer, a whisper left behind. Simple dreams you never chased, but still you hoped I'd find. A sunrise pie, a place to go, some laughter in the rain. I read it like a secret song, still echoing your name. And I did it all for you. One step, one breath, one tune. I followed every word you wrote and felt you in the room. It wasn't much, just paper, but it carried all your grace. And now I see you everywhere, in light, in love, in space. The ocean gave me silence, the pie a kind of peace. Your bike still holds your laughter, the photo brought release. I sang the song you never heard, but maybe now you do. Each each word a piece of me I found while reaching back for you. And I did it all for you. One tear, one smile, one flame. I crossed off every dream you left beside your written name. It wasn't much, just living, but it stitched us back in thread. And when I said I'm done, I knew you'd heard each word I said. So rest where soft winds wander, where time can't steal or bend. Your story's not unfinished, it just waited for the end.